Everybody tries. Look into their eyes and you'll see what they know. Everybody dies. A toast to that invincible bunch. The dinosaurs surviving the crunch. Let's hear it for the ladies who lunch. Everybody rise, 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 rise. Tommy.
Very good. Thank you, Rhian. I got my
Thank you.
ringtone.
Rehearsed. No rehearsal.
Yeah, once again enlightening me to the fact that I'm slowly becoming Bobby from Company.
Yes, thank you, and welcome to one of many in the series of Tom's self-insert characters.
Yeah,
Company!
and every time I bring you on, this is the thing. I can't remember when I mentioned. I think I mentioned it in the Merrily We Roll Along episode. But the last time, when me and Will recorded the last 3 Company episodes, which were Company, an episode all about the show itself, specifically the New York Philharmonic with Pat LaPone and Neil Patrick Harris, the one that you watched. Then an episode about other productions of Company, and then an episode all about the D.A. Pennebaker Company original cast album documentary. You know, the epitome, the tomb of excellence that is, of course. But back then, for lack of a better way to say it, I was in a relationship, and it's incredibly disparate how a show about, you know, single life and relationship life can hit you in different ways.
But talk to me about your very first interaction with the show. Were you also in a relationship then?
No, I was single, and this was before the major one. So yeah, so this was So I first got into Company, single and miserable, and I was like, oh my god, there's a show about this. There's a show about a sad, lonely white guy, straight guy. Oh my God, I can't believe it. And I thought, wow.
The change you want to see in theatre.
Yeah. I think people would love it if I wrote a show about the black gay experience. I think people would really respond to that really well. I think being the change and writing that show would go down really well.
No, I'm on about writing yourself into the theatre landscape, but you don't have to in this case.
No, I don't. The role of Joanne is there for me. No, so I watched Company, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. And then I showed it to the major X in the Holiday from Hell that we went on those last 2 weeks.
The viewers know about the Holiday from Hell?
Probably at some point. I'll have mentioned it, but we knew that we were going to. So we watched Company fully in the knowledge that she'd be gone within a week.
Oh, good Lord.
A bizarre experience.
That was like me with La La Land.
That was like me with 500 Days of Summer when we got home and then watched 500 Days of Summer was the last movie we ever watched together.
Yikes.
Yeah, terrible.
I think mine was La La Land. We got to the end credits and he said, I don't think we should date after uni. Or before, like, after I go to uni. Where did you get that idea, perhaps? Going off and being a creative on your own.
I want to make a jazz and chicken restaurant. You study architecture. What the hell? And then, and then obviously miserable and alone for 2 years, and then by happenstance, I was in a 2-month. Well, I guess we'd call it a fling. Whilst we recorded those Company episodes.
The contempt dripping from the word fling.
Oh, tell me about it. What about you, Rhian? What's your relationship with the show Company?
I'm trying to cast my mind back because I
Sorry.
remember...
You took the reins. We're doing 21 episodes about Sondheim, and I wanted a few bonus episodes, so I asked some of our favourite guests pick a Sondheim show to talk about loosely and all that sort of stuff.
Yes, apologise for steamrolling you.
So you chose Company. Why? And I guess you can bleed that into what you were about to talk about.
I'm going to segue. Yeah. Well, if I remember rightly, when I first when I was at kind of the height of my Company obsession, I was in a relationship, and so there was kind of like a charm to that. But then I think even when I was single, I didn't really resonate with Bobby as a character in the way that I imagine you did. Even when it became, when you had like the gender bent adaptation, I think I appreciate it more for the side characters and for like the funny dynamics that arise. I couldn't really care less about what happens to Bobby. I know that's a weird thing to say.
No, it's true.
I think for me, I think for me, like it's just like the kitschiness of the music, and so this bootleg was the first professional production of it that I've seen. I saw the Royal Welsh College Musical Theatre Masterclass do a production of it, and that was very good.
Well, I think Bobby suffers from some people in it. Yeah, Bobby suffers from like I can do without Someone Is Waiting. Like Someone Is Waiting is such, to me, I can do without. It just so happens that Being Alive is one of the great songs ever written.
Yeah, I will say Someone Is Waiting is probably one of the few songs that I prefer sung by a woman. Just, I mean, not really for narrative so much as like I think it just sounds better.
Yeah. I like Marry Me a Little. I think it's a good choice, of course, that's been brought back in over the years. It's a great song.
I always forget about that one.
Yeah. Because it's a show that's been weirdly constructed and amalgamated like a Frankenstein over the years. Like, does it really make sense that he proposes to Amy? No. Not at all. Because that was one of the original endings, that Amy leaves Paul, and that was the ending, that he does get his relationship with Amy. Amy comes to Bobby and says, all right, I've left Paul. Do you want to be married or whatever?
I do like that, but I feel like it would have been too neat.
Yeah, I've never liked that at all. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I think, I mean, for lack of a better way to say it, I've never felt more like Bobby in my entire life, in that I'm single. I mean,
how old are you now? 33? It's a fast approaching.
It comes down to the simple fact of, I've never had the situation where I've been single, and every single person in my life who I hold dear is in a relationship. Every single friend is a couple. Like I did it.
It's not true.
That is true.
It's not true.
It is true.
I could name drop people, but I don't want to embarrass them.
Oh. Yes, but yes, all right, okay, yeah, but right, okay. If I was to fill the cast of Company.
Okay, sure. Oh, yes, do that. Who would you cast me as?
I've never heard you sing.
You never heard me sing?
I don't think I have ever heard you sing.
In all of our years together.
I do. I think you'd be a good Amy. You have the comedy chops for Amy. Do it now. Go.
Listen, everybody, look, I don't know what you're waiting for. What's the wedding? It's a prehistoric ritual. Everybody powers to the first, maybe the horrifying word I've ever heard, which is followed by a honeymoon with silly and realize settle with not want to kill what you should. Doesn't like that bunch, but I'm not getting married. I'm gonna blame Zoom lag for any
okay. Very good. Interesting
there.
Choice to do the second verse. Nobody ever does the second verse. No, very good. All right, there you go. You've got the role. You've got the role.
Thank you. I would have also accepted. God, what's her name? The one who gets high.
Jenny.
I would have also accepted Jenny.
Yeah, I think it got revealed on the Nativity pod because we were talking how much I was like Mr. Madden's. Uh,
And then Lauren was like, and Jenny was the one.
no, Ashley Jensen's called Jennifer, in it.
Of course.
Yeah. Great film. Except she comes back. Company.
Why did I agree to do this?
I
Why
know
did
this is a
choose
terrible.
this fate?
You could have done Mary Lou. You could have done so many shows.
You'd have found a way to weave it
I
in.
love Pacific Overtures, but in many ways, feudal Japan leaving America is a bit like. Company. You watched the New York Philharmonic 2011, so this is the first time you've ever seen this. So what did this production do for you? Were you finally like, oh, I get it, company's great, or were you
Interestingly enough, because I obviously, like I say, I had I think a stint of about a year or 2 years where I loved the production, like I loved the music. But then it got to a point where it was on the West End. I just didn't really have an inclination to go and see it.
I saw it twice. It's Patty. That was the only reason to go see it. That's cruel.
No, it's not. She's incredible.
Yeah.
And so when I started, this production, I was thinking, like, have I just outgrown this? Like, does it just feel like it hasn't really held up? And then I just fell into it again, and it was really nice. And like, the fact that it's like a pro shot, you get like much more kind of cinematic like moments of just really great like facial comedy, and like you can appreciate like the choreo, the kind of intricacies that like I didn't really expect from, like, because I was expecting it to be kind of more concert style, because half the stage is taken up by the band, but they did commit to like the karate and falling off the sofa and things like that, so it was fully fledged production, which I was a bit scared that it wouldn't be in the beginning. So yeah, it reignited my interests.
Did the reignition not begin when me, you, and your wonderful partner David sat and watched back to back the original cast album documentary by
of Co-op
straight into the documentary now episode of Co-op?
I think that was a fever dream within itself. That feels so far removed from where I am now. No, I do love Co-op. John Mulaney is a tour de force as the director. Yeah, I forget we actually did watch the original Making of Company before that.
Yeah, it's great.
Wild.
Stephen,
brilliant.
Elaine, sing! I can't even spit this time of morning. Before we go on a tangent of that, let's start this as a. I want to know. I asked your top 5 songs, and let's have them in an order. So let's start with. Let's actually do this in reverse. I don't want to hear your top 5 just yet. I want to hear your cut.
Oh, okay.
You were to cut one song. You're allowed 2 if you want to cut 2, and you're not allowed to cut TikTok, which is the sex ballet.
Sure.
Oh God, this feels so good.
Probably "Marry Me a Little" would be one of my cuts.
Sorry, Over Somebody's Waiting.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I don't know. I guess. I see what you mean. They are interchangeable.
I've never been a huge fan of Barcelona.
Where you going, Barcelona?
Yeah.
I think it's funny.
It is funny, and it when done well, it's great. But as a song, I don't. You're a very special.
Oh, baby.
Oh, Poor Baby's great. She's too tall. Goliath. Poor baby all alone. You know, when all the wives are singing whilst he's getting his rocks off, and they're all saying, "Oh, poor Bobby, he shouldn't be alone."
No, didn't really grab me that one. Would you like my top five?
To be your mother. Yes, I would like your top five. What is 5?
I'm gonna say Sorry Grateful.
Right, okay, so it's going to be one of those. It's going to be one of these conversations.
How do you mean?
I don't know. I think it's fine. I don't enjoy Stephen Colbert trying to find his note. Here, always sorry. That's beside. I don't want to be mean about Stephen Colbert.
This is just, in general.
In general. Why? Sorry, Greg.
I mean, I've not really given it a whole lot. I'm ordering this on the fly.
That's all right. That's fine. But it made you top 5.
Yeah,
why
I think
top 5?
It's kind of like a lament, but also like a celebration.
Element.
A lament.
Oh, a lament.
It's a bit of an element.
It's a bit of an element. I thought, because usually it's like, it's a bit of a, sofa ballad. I was like, what? Sorry, what? It's like, it's from Dogfight. I was like, I don't listen to Dogfight, Rhian.
Oh, Dogfight is incredible.
You do love Dogfight.
I just think like it's a scathing review of marriage, but also like the kind of wonders of marriage.
It's the Sondheim quote is that, Chekhov said the line, if you don't want to be lonely, don't get married. Or whatever the line is. And then Sondheim said, he did for 2 hours. He said in 6 words what we tried to say in 2.5 hours. And this has, for me, a lot of the lines that can equate to that. No, I'm thinking, what do you want? Do you want indescribable bliss, and what do you want to get married for? But that's later. That's Have I Got a Girl for You? I forget how much I love company. Apart from Sorry Grateful and Somebody's Waiting and Barcelona. No, Sorry Grateful's a nice song. But also it doesn't actually make any sense. She'll always
for that character or in general?
I don't know. I think in general, she'll always be what she always were, which is all things to do with her. But that's not the line I'm thinking of. There's a lot. There's I don't know. There's something about Sorry Grateful. It's not what I would pick.
That's okay. I think if you read too much into it, then it does kind of bum you out. But just that sense of like, this is the reality of love. Like, you're not just gonna magically become like ensconced in this other person. Like, you can have your own like anxieties and fears and desires, but still like this other person like will be home to you. And that might not be as like thrilling over the years, but that's like a comfort.
Yeah. No, it is that. So yeah, I'll give you that it's the comfort side of things. So, and
I mean, there's a few like that I will talk about in the rest of my ranking.
Number 4.
I know you're going to disagree with this as well. Another 100 People is my number 4.
All right, okay.
Purely, just
is this
for
because
like
you want a minute and a half cut for your auditions?
Yeah. Well, there was a time when I thought I could do that as a cut, and then I was like, well, this is just a shambles.
You can't really do Sondheim cuts.
No, and also
cuts
are terrible, and also you're just flipping off your accompanist whenever you hand him Sondheim.
As I did multiple times to Christopher Dickens.
Hi, loaded to work with you. Fuck you. Here I go.
Yeah, here's Epiphany.
I also did that to Christopher Dickens several times.
What did you give him? What did you sing on Sondheim Week?
Oh, what did I sing? I sing Worst Pies in London.
Did you?
I did.
Is there a recording of this?
There is not. don't think there's a recording of anything I did in that class, which I'm quite gutted about. I did a wonderful "Don't Rain on My Parade," which I did not think was going to come out, but that room is just like my good luck charm now.
It is a good cacophony.
I also
did you wear your Halloween Fanny Bryce costume?
No, I should have. I didn't have it at that point. I also did a shocking rendition of "She Used to Be Mine," just because I didn't know how to communicate that it was in 3/4 time or 6/8 or whatever it is, and he did not know that because he'd never heard the song before. So it ended up being the fastest thing I've ever done.
She is happy, but she's kind. She is.
Another 100 People. I just like, it's one of those songs where I remember exactly where I was when I like heard it, and it made like an impression on me. Partly, due to the performance, like was, just completely, but also like it's a nice little kind of snapshot of like
Another 100 People is a great song. Yeah, is a great song as sung on the original album by Pamela Myers as a 3-minute song. I cannot stand a minute of it here, a whole scene, a minute of it, a whole scene, a minute of it.
I mean, yeah, I get that. And I do think that the show would work just fine without it. But I do like it.
It's a good song. It's Seth Rudetsky always introduces it as either people think it's the best song in the show or the worst song in the show. I don't think that either, really. But it's just, it has a good quality to it. And I do think it does do, as you just said, it presents it as a metropolis. And I think as much as, I'm surrounded by couples, no matter whether I'm up north or down south, really. So my point is void. There is something about being alone in London. I tell the story a lot of, I thought I'd treat myself and go to the theatre alone. And then I had my meal alone, and then and sat in a bar, and I thought, the hell am I doing? But you're going to do some therapy about I should enjoy my own company.
Oh no!
Why enjoy my own company when I can enjoy Sondheim's?
I was just going to segue back to myself. I see what you mean, though. Like, I think I listened to this before. Yes, I definitely listened to this before I moved away, and it was essentially one of the only aspirations I've ever had for myself was to eventually move to London, and there was a lot of like, fear but also excitement about that.
Yeah, no, I know another 100 People. Good choice. Number 3 now. Are your right? If your top 3 isn't the top 3, I have no idea what you're going to try and put in. Oh, I'm interested.
Number 3.
I'm interested.
Getting married today.
Okay, that's fine. All right,
I'm in the clear.
We're fine for now.
I mean, like, it's one of those things. It's like it's overdone because it's great. Like you can't begrudge that.
It's overdone, but the minute it starts with a good actress, you go, yes,
because it's a gymnastic event, and I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that my earlier rendition was anything to applaud. But it's a great feat of acting through song and like adrenaline and telling a story about a woman on the edge and
so darkly hilarious.
Yeah, and the comedy of like the choral moments and then the moments with Paul, yeah. Just complement it and accent it completely, and it's great.
Have you seen my cufflinks? They're right on the dresser, next to my suicide note.
I think a lot of my comedy has stemmed from a few places. Mike Myers as Cat in the Hat, and Amy's breakdown. It's kind of depends on the day.
It is an absolutely flawless scene. The George Firth is kind of the secret sauce of this. A lot of people, I know a lot of people who, when it comes to company, they're like, okay, it's some of the incredible songs, but what are all these scenes? And yet,
this is the second time in 3 episodes you've used the term secret sauce, and I don't appreciate it.
You don't like it when I say that, do you? Sneaky best part. I used to say that. Sneaky. George Firth is a sneaky best part about what are other things. I remember when Will picked me up for saying yes, no, which apparently I say all the time.
Yeah, but then so do I.
Yeah. Well, yes, no, but no. What was the time? Oh, there was something. I can't remember. Good story for a podcast. Okay. Yes, 3. Getting Married Today is wonderful. Do you have a favorite performance of Getting Married Today? Do you have a certain recording or a certain Spotify or a certain YouTube that you frequent?
While I search for one, do you have one?
Obviously, you love Glee. We both love Glee.
I mean, of course. I wish we had more opportunities to talk about.
Did Leah Michelle sing Another 100 People when she went to New York?
I don't think so.
This is a great game. Was Sorry Grateful on Glee? Did they do a company episode? The Rocky Horror Company episode? Sorry Grateful. Glee.
My 2 contenders for Not Getting Married Today, besides the wonderful Lauren Bickerdike, who I saw in the Royal Welsh Company.
The Royal Welsh Company.
The Royal Welsh Company of Company. Katie Finneran in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who who Katie Finneran? This episode will come out before we do 10 minutes of Catherine Newton talk, but think of it as a cameo. Katie Finneran, excellent in Freaky as Catherine Newton's mum. As you were.
And an attendant for the books, Darren Criss. Wonderful.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah.
There's another
before.
Glee.
That was before they did the actual real rewrite. To Amy to Jamie for. So you never saw the London revival?
I didn't. No. Oh, I have another honourable mention. I love this video. Sondheim teaching Not Getting Married at the Guildhall School. Jane Whittenshaw.
Yeah,
because
she's
there's a great comment. I'm going to read it. I love the expression on Sondheim's face when she misses half a beat to breathe, but then fixes it by condensing the next 2 syllables. So good.
It's a great video, especially when you compare that to the kid singing My Friends, who I'm sorry is bad, and he notes him to death and won't let him finish a single line, but then will let her just do the full song. You know what's so great is when his first note in that video, if I remember rightly, is for Paul. Is today is for Amy, and he has no notes for what was her name? Jane Bickerdike?
No, Jane Whittenshaw. Lauren Bickerdike was the Royal Welsh.
And Catherine Newton.
Yes.
Number 2. My favorite Getting Married Today is Madeline Carr. Next. Is Company.
The titular song, Company. Just because it just gets me,
It's an incredible opening number and an incredible finale. I hate when the finale they don't do Company again. The original, like the finale that's on the album, which is no, it's
also just like from a singer perspective, just I've never attempted. I mean, because I've never been put in a group for that number, but I've never even attempted to look at that arrangement because it's just insane. It's wonderful. It's so Sondheimian, if you will, in that it's just like crazy, stupid intervals that just somehow work.
that makes sense, yeah. And
Yeah.
like, you know, in the original cast album, Elaine going down telephone calls, but it somehow makes sense.
I don't know how, like, because Elaine Stritch is like, I mean, you know, she's great, but it's like nowadays I think there's more pressure to be more like vocally refined and like to have perfect technique, whereas like I think I've spoken about this on an episode before, whereas like the kind of gems of the golden age and a bit later were these people with these incredibly unique sounds but not necessarily amazing technique.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, how the hell did they get this ragtag group to pull off some of these harmonies?
Yeah. You know, no, but I always had bad material, Steve, and now I've got good material, so I can afford to go back. She would agree with you. No, me and Hannah, bonus episode that comes out later, we talked about the Into the Woods Regent's Park production, and me and Will talk about this in all of these episodes, is the whole acting through singing and how people use it to get away with it. And it really annoys me because you've just said all you've just said, but Elaine Stritch can still hit bloody notes. And people love to talk about B. Arthur, but she can still hit those notes. And, you know, Ellen Green, you know, she does Somewhere That's Green and Suddenly Seymour, and she's doing this, you know, Audrey voice, and she does it all raspy, and then suddenly you know, that's terrible, but she'll actually suddenly have this beautiful belt, and I hate.
But again, like that by contemporary standards would not be considered like, you know, good, like control or this or that. I'm not contesting that it's bad singing because like it gets this
about
no, that's what I mean, like from a technical perspective, like I
Rhian,
think
if somebody
oh my god,
true story.
I think
so. I just showed Rhian we'll get to it. I just showed Rhian my new home screen, which is Elaine Stritch in the original production of Company, and my mum saw this the other day and said, "Who's that?" And I said, "Oh, it's Elaine Stritch." And she went, "Not your mother, not your father, some random old woman."
No, that's too fine. No, I was like, yeah. So like, I like if you know your Elaine Stritches, your B. Arthurs, your Patti LuPones walked into an audition room today, like, I did like again. It's
you don't
more
think Patti would have a career?
I don't, and it's more of a criticism of the way theatre is set up now to be like you have to sound the same as everybody else, and you have to have like this incredible clean, like, you know, it needs to be like either poppy or just polished, so that because we're in the age of like everything goes through a processor and like it's directly in your ears.
Like that's another one. This is why I think you've pegged why I prefer all these original cast albums, like with the Sondheim song canon that we're curating.
It's got edge, it's got like humanity to it, and I really do appreciate that. I mean, and there's the fact that they smoked like 40 a day.
Yeah,
which
and I think this New York Philharmonic production actually, in its casting, has a good level of that.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree, and I think that's one of the reasons that like at least this production held up. But I don't know if it has many more years left.
Ooh.
Oh,
well, I think it does because, and I've said this before. You know what it does. You know what it does, which is a masterstroke. Sets itself in 1970. Company 2018 making things more up to date and changing certain things.
I hate like anachronism or modernism in like a show. I don't like it. Usually.
All it does is just make things feel more dated. And I've said this a million times about 28. Company 2018. They thought they were making a modern show, but they weren't making a modern show. They were making a show from 1970 modern, and that's not the same thing. Whereas, listening to that original cast album, this 2011 concert has, in the orchestrations, has in the presentation, that 70s, as you going back to your number 2 choice, Company, just a barnstorming, you know, incredibly orchestral. I mean, the worst example is the 2006. Oh, we're all in funeral suits and we all play our own instruments revival with Raul Esparza, who's great in it. But I hate that revival. That's beside the point. Anything else you want to say about your number 2 choice, Company?
No.
Is this your favourite Sondheim opening number?
Oh.
Attend the Tale of Sweeney Todd is iconic.
Probably, yeah.
Merrily We Roll Along is fine. Pacific Overture's Adventures in the... I'm kind of throwing you in the deep end, aren't I?
No, I do. Like, I can think of enough off the top of my head, and I do still maintain that one's the one that's giving me, like, goosebumps.
It does. It just completely... Does it fail in that is such an incredible opening, and then you're immediately into
very
cinnamon
like
Barbie. The odd taste is cinnamon, and then you've got a full 5-minute scene, and then
I do think it kind of I would agree with you in that. I don't know if that was your opinion or just a question you're posing. Yeah, I do think it immediately, like, the energy comes down, but then, I mean, once they're doing, like, the fighting, you're on board. You know, you're like, okay, this is what's happening.
I've just had a like the sound of Patti LuPone clinking her drink. I've just had a full realization of something, haven't I?
What?
Your number 1 is not Ladies Who Lunch. Your number 1 is The Little Things You Do Together.
Yes, it is.
I knew this about you, didn't I? Oh, no. Right,
Didn't even crack the top 5.
I know. We'll talk about this madness. This madness must stop. We'll talk about this madness in just a moment. Yes, The Little Things You Do Together. Here we go. We'll talk in a second about the songs that you've chosen to emit. But for now, let's talk about the song that you've chosen to crown as your number 1. And I did know this about you. I did know this piece of information somewhere in the back of my burrows. Your number 1 is what?
The Little Things You Do Together.
Why?
I mean, I do have, like, positive associations, again, with, like, hearing it with an ex. You're not the only one that gets to do it.
In the role of Joanne, or next to you?
Just, sat. I don't remember what was wrong with me. I had some kind of ailment. It's fine. And just put me to bed, put that song on, got up and left. And I was like, this is the little things you do together.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
That is pretty delightful. Which recording?
I think
Elaine, purple recording.
The purple one, yeah.
Okay, so it was Elaine, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'll allow it. You also just described Misery.
Well, funny you say that, because it turns out he was trying to kidnap me to make me write more books.
I don't ever want you to write more books. Who was this person? No, Little Things You Do Together. Everything you said about Sorry Grateful, I prefer to say about Little Things You Do Together, and it's funnier.
No, I can see that.
More set to the actual tone of the overall piece.
Yeah, it is the same vibe and message, just more upbeat. You're absolutely right. But I don't know. I think musically I like them both for different reasons. I mean, there's the novelty of, like, one being a solo and one being like a whole company affair. How many times can you say company in one sitting?
No, they're both the same in that they start off a solo, and then by the end, all the men come for Sorry Grateful, and then all the couples come for It's Not Talk of God and the Decade Ahead that allowed you to get through the worst. It's I did and you did and nobody said that, and who.
Oh yeah, I suppose I did forget that the other men join in.
What I'm trying to illuminate is you know nothing. No, little things you do together is hilarious. Do you have a favourite withering remark?
Withering remark.
Yes.
For that song in particular, like favorite lyric.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite?
Oh,
I realize I've said favorite withering remark when this has a remark about withering.
withering away together. I mean, sharing little drinks, winks, and kinks is always fun.
That's great. Yeah.
But I actually know I do like people that you hate together. Date together. Date together.
Yeah.
Mate.
They say people that you hate together, people that you mate together, people that you date together.
It's bait together.
Oh, it must be mate. That's the horny lyric.
Am I gonna double down on this? Probably.
Company lyrics. Little things. Why would you bait somebody?
You know, like it's like people you make fun of.
Oh, okay. So maybe it is bait.
To bait is to intentionally make a person angry by saying or doing things to annoy them. That's me and David to a T.
Are you happy of you? Are you proud of yourself?
Yes, I am. And see, now it's changed the whole
Dynamic.
context of the song. And you must admit that it's your favorite.
What was I going to say? Man is obviously shouting to your horse together, getting a divorce together. Oh no, that's untrue.
It's also Noah Baumbach's favorite lyric.
Yeah, he loves that. I love that lyric. When I was writing Marriage Story, I tried my best to talk with Greta about why didn't I do my great Noah Baumbach impression on the Noah Baumbach episode.
I think you did an Adam Driver.
I do a great Adam Driver, but I do a better. I was talking to Greta about what I can do.
I think you'll find I said you did an Adam Driver. and undisclosed. I'm kidding. I was just baiting you.
Yes. I'm of course lying. My favorite line is withering away together. Growing old and grey together. Especially Patty. Withering away together. All right, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Where the hell is Ladies Who Lunch in this top 5? Sorry, Grateful.
Sorry.
I was so fine with you having Sorry, Grateful until I realised this was the rest.
I could be convinced, I think. It's just
have my many
like,
performances not convinced you?
I don't know, because I feel like my criticisms of it, you're going to be like, well, it's the same as Sorry, Grateful, but I just find it a bit repetitive.
But this builds. Sorry, Grateful doesn't build.
Yeah. Again, I'm like I'm teetering. No, but I am teetering on the fence. You know me. If I have a staunch opinion, I will hold it strongly. But I am teetering because I don't know if I've heard enough renditions of Ladies Who Lunch to be like taken with it.
There was one year where my Spotify Wrapped had 3 different versions of Ladies Who Lunch in the top 100.
That's impressive.
That is, well, impressive. I guess that's the word. No, I of course love Ladies Who Lunch, but this isn't about me. I invited you here. What about being alive? Why are you cold on being alive? Is it because it is Getting Married Today, like overdone and everybody sings it, but not I think, in the fun way that Getting Married, but you prefer?
Yeah, I think in the same way that like, or in the opposite way that Not Getting Married Today is like overdone, but for good reason. I think there comes a point in every young man's life where he convinces himself that he can sing Being Alive and sing it well.
I've never sung it. Oh no, I sing it all the time. But I've never sung it in
itself, you know.
But I've never sung it.
You've got a bit of decorum.
Yeah.
But that being said, I do think, and this is one of the few compliments you'll get out of me, I do think you could do it to a reasonable degree.
Thank you.
Whereas there have been a lot of shocking renditions of it, and I don't know. I think
I want you to type in the chat now who sang it of the people. All I'll do is react
No, because it won't be anyone that you know. It'll just be like people like doing like
Did nobody sing it who I knew?
And the cabarets.
Did nobody sing it who I know on the Sondheim week?
I don't think so. Everyone, literally, there were 4 Joannas.
What? That did Ladies Who Lunch?
No, there were 4 people who sang Joanna for Sondheim week.
Oh, Joanna, not Joanna.
Joanna, yeah.
Oh God, I hate Joanna as is. Nobody sang the reprise.
I don't think so.
Oh Jesus Christ! I thought Chris was on. Chris used to be on this. He used to never allow repeats.
Oh my God, we took the piss in his class. It got to the point where people were showing up. No sheet music, or sheet music in the entirely wrong key because it was a male song brought in by a female, or someone would just not have like any of the words down and then blame it on like, oh, you know, just I learned it by listening to it. It's like, well, yeah, you've got to listen to it more than once.
In the words of Asa on a previously not released episode, you have to.
You have to actually read the lyrics to learn them. Yeah.
No,
but no, he was just so exasperated.
I learnt the full lyrics to G Officer Crookie and did the performance alone, just me.
No way. I would pay to see a recording of that.
Rhian, you can
get out your checkbook, love.
A recording of that. I can send you this now.
Well, let's, don't be shy. Play it on the pod.
Yeah, sure. I'm not going to perform a full 5-minute. No, perform it now live in my garage. No, when it comes to company itself, why do you think that? Because I asked, I asked Leanne, I asked Jay, I asked Hannah, I asked you. You said company, which already has 3 episodes. Jay said Sweeney, which already has 3 episodes. And Hannah and Leanne both said Into the Woods, which now has 4 episodes. Why do you think? Because Into the Woods and Sweeney both have films. And so that is theoretically.
And I would say that company would not hold up as a film.
Well, the myth, as we mentioned on the Marriage Story, yet to be released episode, is that was the original pitch for not for Marriage Story. It was that Baumbach and Adam Driver were flirting with doing company as a film. Hence why
I think what I said in response to that was Adam Driver could not play Bobby, and that's why they didn't do it.
I don't know about the comedy, but that's untrue because he's hilarious in While We're Young and Francis Ha.
Oh no, he's very funny.
He's very funny, yeah. But it would be a little bit menacing. Like, why is everybody friends with him? I know you're excited, but you can watch it after.
Okay.
And it's 2 parts. The other part's coming. I think Company is a film. Well, I was going to say stupidly, it wouldn't work because there's too many scenes in different places and too many different characters, which is what people say against moving films to plays or any other thing. I just don't think it works. I don't think it would work as a film. I'd watch it,
but you'd complain about it.
I'd complain about it. I'd complain about everything. But that was my question. Why do you think Company is undoubtedly still his biggest, his third biggest show? I think Sweeney and Into the Woods, whether they're better or not, I think Sweeney's better. But
I think like just to, comparatively with the other 2 that you mentioned, they're very kind of fantastical in their content. But then have some kind of really sweet human moments like dotted in. This, by contrast, is a very human story. Nothing really happens, but you've got this fantastical element of the music that kind of carries you through it. And it's kind of like, I mean, you know this of me. I love anything that's like very character driven. Waitress is probably still one of my favorite shows and all films of all time. Like, I love stuff that just follows ordinary people kind of at the height of like a moment in their lives or an emotion or a chapter. And I say that after saying that I didn't really care what happens to Bobby. I do care. And it gives it this gravitas and this like energy that makes you go, wow, I can inject that into my life. And this is why it becomes, I think, the soundtrack for a lot of people's lives. In a way that like you don't really get with Sweeney Todd. Yes, it's like still
it has
very
the most
impressive.
songs. It has the most songs that aren't I always call them like single songs. It has the most songs that could be singles. He always talks about how there's a reason why Angelo Dobro has more money than me. It's because he never writes songs that say I'm a cat. Apart from Cats, that's the most stupid thing I've ever said.
Yeah.
But like Memory could be a huge hit single. Everybody's done a version of Memory. Not everybody can do a single of Worst Spies in London. And this has the most.
Yeah, well, I have 2 points off of that. One is like, now that's the trap that we've fallen into with contemporary musicals, is like they always want to have at least 1 or 2 songs spliced in there that are like just kind of general like empowerment or love songs. Like, I mean, they shoehorned I Say No into the Heathers soundtrack just to have, something kind of like fun and poppy, which I don't think it really added anything to the story. Same with like I'd Rather Be Me, Mean Girls, although that did fit the plot much more, like because it was punctuating a moment in the film. And, just things like that. Whereas I feel like Company never had that at the forefront, like, of, the design, but it inadvertently became that for a lot of people, like songs that they could resonate with just because, not because it's part of the show. And like, I mean, I listen to the music, more than I ever like fixated on watching it visually.
People will always be alone. People will always be in relationships. Not everybody will be in a twisted psychosexual dynamic with a baker.
Speak for yourself.
And want revenge.
But no, yeah,
and
you
sure,
see what,
once
you
you,
see
once
what
you
I
dig
mean.
into Sweeney, there are so many themes there. Once you dig into the Woods, not even dig. Once you go, oh, look at Into the Woods, it's obviously about losing parents and children and parents and children. But this is very on its sleeve. No, this is set in, I mean, I see it as set in the 70s, but many people just see it set as blank, set whenever present is. And these things will always resonate, and Being Alive will always resonate. And and all these, I think it's less so that you don't care about Bobby. I think the arc of the show, and I think it took me a while to realize, is that the arc of the show is that he doesn't care, and that he's doing the whole, I'm fine, I'm single, I'm happy, I'm fine, you don't need to worry about me. And obviously, visually and narratively and character-based, that's boring. And over the course of the show, obviously that breaks down and breaks down and breaks down, and until we get to Being Alive. And people, who say Being Alive is shit or whatever, I just, after 2 hours 20, I defy you, if the song is performed well, which unfortunately, when I saw it in London, it was not. If the song is performed well, it'll knock you out like a train. I think Neil Patrick Harris is terrific in the New York production.
Agreed.
Company, what a great show. I don't think I have anything left to say, Rhian, unless you have anything else to. Do you have anything else to say about Sondheim? This will be your only appearance in our Sondheim series, which of course has ended up in memoriam, unfortunately. Do you have any other? Was there a part of you that was like, I don't want to take this time to talk about Company, I want to watch Merrily We Roll Along for the first time and talk about that, or something? What's your Sondheim experience beyond Company?
That's a good question, really. It is fairly limited. it's fairly limited, like beyond, like Sweeney Into the Woods, which I didn't really care for.
Sweeney?
No, I like Sweeney Todd.
Oh, thank God. I can't do this. I can't do that debate.
Yeah, and like, but I'd still, I mean, there's a lot that I've kind of been on my list for a while that I still haven't gotten around to. Assassins, things like that.
Assassins is
Park with
phenomenal.
George. So, but I would say as of right now, 1st of November 2022, Sondheim is no longer with us. But
as of now,
as of right now, I just
when
got word.
When this comes out, he might be back.
Well, who knows? But as of now, I would say that Company holds a very special place in my heart and is one of my favorites. I also remember the other point I was going to make about modernizing Sondheim and whether it can really be done across the board. I invite you to listen to the music of Hilary Ward if you already haven't. She made her
Sweeney,
internet fame.
What is that?
What is it? Well, she made her internet fame doing folk covers of Sondheim songs. And usually I don't really go for stuff like that.
Those two words, folk and covers.
Yeah, but they are actually really, really good. And she's now gotten to such a point in her fame that that's her living. She goes and she tours with these like folk arrangements of these songs. And before you say, well, isn't that just bastardizing Sondheim? He wrote her a letter and was like, I love this.
I knew you were gonna do this shit. I knew this was coming.
He wrote her a letter and was like, I really love what you're doing. I love that like my music can stand the test of time and be like reinvented in new ways. And everyone cried. It was a really nice moment. And then that was like a month before he died.
Oh God.
Yeah.
What's your favorite of these covers?
What's your favorite?
I will do. What's your favorite of these covers? Is there an album I should listen to?
I will look it up for you. But off the top of my head, ironically, there's the Red Riding Hood song. London, there's the
even that's for life.
There's
I Know Things Now.
I Know Things Now, which was very good.
Don't put your faith in a cave in a hood. They will not protect you the way that they should. And if some of us changes.
Joanna is very good.
All right, I won't be listening to that. I'm sorry.
And Not While I'm Around.
Okay. So it is all the songs that I don't want to be horrible, but they are all the songs that very easily could just be strummed.
Well, she's got 2 albums worth. So Perfect Little Death is Joanna Reprise, Everyday Little Death, Pretty Women.
Everyday Little Death's phenomenal.
Children Will Listen, Loving You, Finishing the Hat.
All right, yeah.
Send in the Clowns, Losing My Mind.
Yeah.
In Buddy's Eyes, Take Me to the World, The Ballad of Sweeney Todd, Being Alive, and Sunday. And then Keep a Tender Distance is Merrily We Roll Along.
Yeah,
Stay
I get
With Me,
that, yeah.
Unworthy of Your Love, Joanna, Agony, I Remember, Another 100 People.
Oh, great.
The Miller's Son, I Know Things Now, Not a Day Goes By, Not While I'm Around, No One Is Alone, Marry Me a Little, and Move On.
Okay, I mean, like, the excitement that goes through me just listing those songs. I don't know. I just love all those songs, and so I'll listen to any. I love Liza Minnelli's disco remix of "Losing My Mind." Pet Shop Boys. I love it all. I love it all. That's why we're doing this episode, because I wanted to milk. Because we're coming to the end of the Sondheim series, and I was like, oh no! I want 4 more episodes. Just let me talk about it more.
And it was an honour and a privilege.
Yes, and I could talk about him for. Have you just sent me the link? Is that what this message was? All right. For a second there, I thought people messaged me. They didn't. I'll
I
listen
had
to
that
your.
exact same experience. I was like, oh, people care. And then it was you sending me your rendition of.
Jehovah's Croaking.
Yeah,
But except that will bring you immense joy.
I'm sure it will. I have no doubt.
I sincerely have no doubt. If I was to have a band, terrible. Company, years of company, lots of company, love is company. Thank you.
Da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-da-da. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.